kind of hope we don't get. Oh, I'm getting feedback.
Yeah, I hear echo.
It's not me. I had my mic muted.
I've got headphones on, so I think Steve K.
I just muted. Was it okay there when David started to talk?
Yeah. Now it's back.
Oh, wait. I know what's happening.
Turn off your microphone on the
Yep, got it.
presentation.
I have my microphone from my computer and my phone going. Is that better?
I'm not hearing.
Yeah,
I am.
So I think we're still getting.
What? Really? How about now?
You guys hear
Test.
any?
Test.
That seems better. Yeah. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, cool.
So I hope we don't get more meeting requests during the presentation tomorrow because they pop up on my screen.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, you guys ready to go? Anything we need to talk about before we start?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Yep. I agree.
All right, well, here we go then. Okay, welcome to our presentation on our web application called Syncing Feeling. This is Team 5's presentation. This will be presented by, in order, Thomas Kent, Stephen Kushner, Stephen Bush, and David Nagel. For our web application, we decided to implement the classic board game Battleship. This game is based around the idea that you have 5 ships that you place on your board ahead of time, 2 players. Each one places 5 on their board. And then one by one, you call off a square to which you want to take a shot on the opposing player's board. If there's a ship that occupies that spot, the opposing player will say that you hit the ship. Otherwise, they will say that you miss. You can mark down your hits and your misses on your board, and you mark down the other player's hits on your ships on top of the ships, as shown here. The first player to sink all the opposing player's ships wins the game. So the way we implemented that in software, we started from a clean slate and decided that we wanted to go with the Node.js JavaScript language and framework. From there, we investigated several options for frameworks on top of Node.js. We eventually settled on the Meteor framework and some of its built-in tools. Here you can see a block diagram of our basic setup. This only shows some of the pieces that we're implementing, but we wanted to pull out some of the important ones. You can see on the server side, we have a Node.js Express box. So this is code that runs on Node.js and possibly utilizes the Express framework on top of that. The main thing that we installed there was the Meteor framework on top of Node.js. On top of that, we added our own code repository that implemented all the code needed for the game. Because this is a web application, it needs to have state saved somewhere. So Meteor talks to a MongoDB instance that's running on the same server. If we were to scale more, we could move that MongoDB off to a separate server and have multiple Meteor servers talking to one MongoDB, or as MongoDB is built for scaling, it could be split into multiple instances with multiple Meteors talking to it. As the application runs and clients make requests to the server, Meteor will generate HTML and JavaScript based on our code, and use the Blaze and Spacebars applications which are both involved with turning our code templates into pages, to template and return to the user HTML and JavaScript. And that's for the logic in the pages, for when you see the ships on the board and when you see the user lists and things like that. As far as the design of the pages, a lot of the not the graphics, but the look and feel of the page is handled by the Less programming language, which compiles into CSS, which is something that all browsers can support. And then for a testing layer, we wanted to be able to test both client-side and server-side, so we're using the combination of Mocha and Dispatch as for client and server-side testing, and that will run all of our tests that we have in our repository on both the client and server, depending on if the test is applicable to both. And then it uses the Chai toolkit for JavaScript assertions. So to test that something happened when we said it did, we use Chai for that. Briefly, I'm going to go through the workflow that we used. Our workflow is built around Git and GitHub. We each had an individual repository that when we make changes, we push into that. And then as a group, we have a combined repository to move changes from our local repository into the combined repository. Each sprint, we had one person designated as our merge manager. He would accept pull requests from the individual repositories. And once a pull request was submitted, we had it go out to a service called Circle CI that ran automated tests against it. The merge manager would then merge that into our development branch, which would use GitHub webhooks to go down to the development server. At the end of each sprint, we would merge to our release branch, and that would also use webhooks to automatically push the code onto the release server. Both of these servers were hosted in the Google Cloud. They're just virtual machines. So if we wanted to scale wider, we could easily clone the release server, set more webhooks for that, and have every release that we published go out to many servers. The other thing that kind of happens at the beginning of this workflow is that we have issues. We use the GitHub issue tracking system in coordination with Waffle. And what Waffle does is it pulls all the GitHub issues and sorts them into cards, kind of Kanban style, so that you can organize different cards into categories and decide what is going to be worked at what time. So that is kind of an overview of our architecture and workflow. I'm now going to pass it off to Stephen Kushner, who will go over some of the basics and some of the users.
Sorry, I did not have my present to everyone ready. Do we have the capability to do that?
I don't think it's enabled.
Oh, sorry. There you go. I'll add you guys while you start talking.
All right. So thanks, Tom. I'm Steve Kushner. I'm going to be taking you through our first look at syncing feeling. As you can see up here, this is what you'll be greeted with when you navigate to the web page the first time. Pretty standard jump-off page. There's a sign-in at the top, home and rules. A little description down at the bottom that directs new players to review the rules before creating their first game. So taking a quick look, I will not read all of this to you, but you can see it's pretty much just the generic rules of a typical game of Battleship that we discussed earlier. But with that said, now I'm going to sign in as a new user, and let's call this demo test account. Let's give us a password here, a decent length password, and actually, oops, I need to register this account. So let's just jump into that. Register, and now I am signed in with my demo account. You can see that the capabilities have expanded at the top to a dashboard, create game, and waiting room. Let's jump over to the dashboard. See that there are no games currently. So let's jump into, let's just create a game. Let's call this new demo game. Okay, I'm going to go first here, and I am just going to list this game in the waiting room, and let's hope that somebody jumps in. So you can see here that we're sitting in the waiting room waiting for our game to start. It can't do anything until an opponent has accepted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my Edge browser over here where I am currently signed in as SJK2. A few games already going on, active, waiting, finish, etc. But I want to jump into a new game. I come over here to the waiting room. I see that the game that I created on my Chrome browser is listed here in the waiting room. So I click on that and a little button here shows up that allows me to join the game. As I join the game, you can see on both screens that the game is now in its setup phase. So let's start over here with the demo test account. You can see the ships were randomly generated with their first initial positions. But there are options down here to move and rotate these ships. The first one being I can select a ship, select to move, and then choose its new position and drop it right back there. Or my other option is to move and rotate. So by selecting rotate, I'm choosing the position where the ship will go, and it will show up in a rotated state there. When my setup is complete, I am going to jump to finish setup here, and I now am in my ready state, but I'm still waiting for my other account to finish setup. So let's just jump ahead there. You can see it's my turn on the Chrome browser, and one thing to note here is you can see that this is kind of a stacked display on the Edge browser versus the Chrome, where I have it in full screen right now and they align themselves horizontally because there is room to do so. So it is my test account's turn first. I choose a shot to fire, and I miss my mark on that one, as can be seen by the white ripples. So I bring up this side. You can see that it showed up here. Now I'm going to take a shot on this side, and it's a hit because I'm cheating and I know exactly where that ship is. So let's play a few more turns. I am going to make this a little bit simpler. And we actually had a hit on this side. That's exciting. But right off the bat, my SJK2 is already got a ship sunk, and I'm a little discouraged by that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resign this game. Resign the game. You can see the game log at the bottom, kind of gives you an overview of what happened on each turn. We go back to the dashboard. You see that the game is now in the finished state, and it took 9 turns to do so. Yeah, and that goes over just a quick example game. I'm going to pass it off to Stephen Bush here, who is going to showcase a game with an invitation to another player.
Hello, I'm Stephen Bush, and I'm going to do an invitation. First, I'm going to sign in for demo user 3 that I've already set up. Now I'm going to sign in for demo user 4 that's already been set up. Now I'm going to go back to 3, and I'm going to create a game. I'll call it invite, and then I'm going to invite the player, and I will invite user 4. Okay, now I'm going to go back to user 4 and take a look at his dashboard, and you notice we have a pending game invited by user 3. It's called invite 6, which I just set up. Okay, I'm going to select that game. In this case, I'm going to decline the invitation. And I'll go back to 3, take a look at my dashboard. And down at the bottom, I've got a finished game that invite 6 that user 4 just declined. Now I'm going to create another game. I'll call this one Invite 7. And I'm going to invite a player. This time I'll use demo user 4 again. Create the game. And now go back to 4. And there's the pending game from user 3. I'll select it, and I'm going to accept the invitation. Okay, now I have 2 screens, games that are almost ready. I just need to finish the setup on them for the 2 players. And the 2 games are ready to start. I'm sorry, the 2 players are ready to start. Let's make a fire. Let's fire a hit or a attempt. Oh, that's a miss. I'll go over to my other user and try again, and that's a miss. Let's try over here, and we happen to have a hit. And I'll do one more strike. That's a miss. Okay, if you look over onto the right of the screen, there's a game log that shows the user who fired the shot, the square that the shot was located, and the status of it. You see a miss and there's a hit. Okay, now I'm going to finish up a game that I already started earlier. And I've got some games that are almost finished. Okay, this game I kind of cheated a little. I used Sequential Sue, which is I could predict where the hits were going to be, and I put all my little pieces at the bottom. So as you look over in the list of sunk ships, all of them are sunk except for one. It's a 4-square ship. And of course, here's a list of all the current current activity. And all I have to do is click once, and I think I can finish this game. And that's it. It's finished. The game is over. This player is the winner. And here's the game log at the bottom, shows the game is over. And all the hits again. Okay, now I'm going to hand off to David, who is going to demonstrate further.
This is David, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about our AI options. If you go to the Create page, one of the options, the only option we haven't showed you yet, is to select a computer AI. And we have a variety of AIs implemented that a player can play against. You just saw a little bit about Sequential Sue, which is one of our 2 testing AIs. She plays in a predictable pattern that makes it very easy for you to win. We also have Cheating Chad that always wins because he knows exactly where your ships are. The more interesting ones are the ones in between, ranging from easy to hard. I'm going to highlight 2 of them, but the difference that are in them is that they're all kind of incremental steps improving on the algorithm, so that if a player decides one's too hard, they can go to a slightly easier one. If they think it's too easy, they can make it slightly harder, and so forth. So I'm going to start with I'm going to start with Geometric Jack. Sorry. He is a very simple AI who fires at random until he finds a ship and then targets that ship to make it sink. And I'm just going to call this Jack Demo and create the game. And game creations, much like what you've seen with the other ones, you can set up your board as you like, and when you're ready, then you can say Finish Setup. And the AI player automatically completes their setup using a random board, and then you can play the game. And so if I fire, we can see that over on the other board, Jack is firing at random until he hits a ship. And he happened to hit a ship. So once Jack hits a ship, he stops firing at random, and he targets that area until he finds everything that's in that area that can possibly be sunk. So we see that he surrounds that area, and he's not necessarily doing it in any sort of really intelligent way. He's just basically exploring that area until he has completely surrounded all hits with water on all sides. So I'm just going to quickly go through until I finish that out. Now, even though he's sunk those ships, you can see he's still, surrounding them with additional hits to make sure that there's nothing in that area, which isn't necessarily a smart tactic. The next AI that I would like to show you is Felicity, Focus Felicity. She is a much more intelligent AI player. She does not strictly go at random, and I'm going to show you a game I already have set up. The way her playstyle works is, if you see on this board, she shoots at random but along diagonals, and those diagonals partition the board in such a way that she is guaranteed to find the 4-ship and the 5-ship in the fewest possible turns. Once she has found those 2 ships, she will then change to a checkerboard pattern, which basically just fills in the diagonals in between until she has found all the remaining ships. And using a checkerboard pattern, she is guaranteed to find all remaining ships, because the smallest ship is 2 and can't fit within the spaces of a checkerboard. Once she has found a ship, I have another game here showing what she does when she finds a ship. She targets in a much smarter way. She tries to simulate what a real player would do. So her first hit is she's going to try and aim around that until she can figure out what direction it is. And in this case, she got lucky. She had a 2 in 4 chance of continuing the ship. She did. And now what she's going to do is, she knows that it's oriented vertically, so she's going to extend vertically in both directions until she sinks the ship. And once she has sunk that ship, she's smart enough to realize she's done so, and afterwards she goes on to do random shots until she finds another ship. That particular approach works well in most cases. One of the odd cases you might encounter is if a player has stacked ships, which seems like it can fool her a little bit, because she goes vertically until she runs out of space, but she'll recognize that she's done so and then says, oh, they must have horizontal ships that happen to be overlapping, and then she'll just pick one and continue it until she sinks it, and then she'll go on and do the other ships as well until she has sunk all of them. That concludes our demonstration on the AI component, and at this point we'll turn the floor over for anyone who might have questions. And I think that's it for us.
Yeah, we nailed it like right on 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as time, at least, that was pretty phenomenal.
Anybody have feedback for anybody else?
What do you call a? Do you call it a shot? By?
I would say that you're firing a shot, and it either hits or misses.
Okay, that's what I use.
Hey, Steve K, we're getting some feedback again.
Man, I was really hoping you wouldn't say that. I don't know why it's doing that. It's the same setup I had last night, but oh well.
Do we know if the Hangout that we'll be using tomorrow night, does it start ahead of time that we could log in a little bit in advance and make sure that we're all set up and not having any feedback issues or screen issues, sharing issues?
It's the same one we've been using, right?
Is it?
That's
I
what
think
my
so.
question was.
I believe so. I believe he told us to go back to that one tomorrow. Okay. So I guess my only question is if he's already granted us access to do the screen sharing and everything, or.
I mean, we should be able to log in now and check, right?
Oh, good point. Let's see. Where was that link?
So in order to join that one, I have to end this one. So,
I'm in it on a different computer.
okay.
So I can screen share, but I don't have authority, I don't think. I don't know. It's hard to tell without somebody else on there.
All right.
And I'm not the moderator. So, I don't know.
Oh, I
And
can open.
maybe he'll just change it for us, would be another easy option.
Right. Where is the link for that one? Was in like an angel mail, right? I don't know how I lost it.
Yeah, I just have it on a notepad here that I keep pasting it into.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I lost it. It's
I created a miscellaneous document in our Drive folder that has it in it.
oh. Oh, that's helpful.
I kept losing it.
So if you guys join, I'm not seeing anyone else in there.
I'm in the process of getting Firefox to let me do it.
Oh.
I've never used Hangouts on Firefox, so it's taking its time.
All right, on my computer, I am in that one.
Oh, yeah, I see you.
Cool.
Okay, so when you're there, no, I can't make the hangout. Or I can't make myself present.
Really? Okay. See. All right, so I am screen sharing, but yeah, I cannot present either.
Right, when you're talking. So if he doesn't do anything, I think it goes to whoever's talking. So that,
Right.
as long as none of us make any noise, it should just stick on that one user's screen. And that'll be close enough.
Yeah, which is fine. I have a feeling he seems to do this often enough. He'll probably do the presenting thing. But whatever happens, we can work with it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Do we want to discuss anything, or do we feel that we're ready? I want to make sure I can get to this hangout on my phone as well.
I think we're doing pretty good.
Tomorrow, if anybody gets a chance, look at the test document. See if I need to add anything else to it, make any changes.
Okay. I think tomorrow after the meeting, I'll probably take a look at all of our documentation, and I think I still have at least a couple things I need to do myself with regards to that.
Stephen K., are you having trouble with your internet? Is that?
No, I'm good.
Okay, because you could always come over here and just use it.
Yeah.
I could set you up in another room. So.
Right. No, I'm in pretty good shape right now. As long as nothing major happens between now and tomorrow, which is never a guarantee. But.
Right. But I think we're good enough. If somebody has a major problem, somebody else could take over for them. I think any of the things are interchangeable enough.
Also true.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it's final report. I still have a couple things I need to fill in.
Yeah, if anyone else has comments to make on that or anything, I think I'm the one who's done much of it so far.
Yeah, I haven't spent much time with the documentation with the presentation upcoming.
Sure.
I felt like I would have the few days to look at it after. But I'll definitely take a look at everything after tomorrow. Sorry. Actually, just noticed in our assumptions and dependencies in our SRS, we assume it's a Google sign-in authentication. We fix that to reflect the Meteor sign-in. Okay.
Yeah. We kind of changed that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's valid to update this after the fact, right? Even though that was originally an assumption.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything suggesting that we can't.
Okay. Yeah, let's fix that.
I think the syllabus is structured so that you hand us in earlier in the course and then don't do anything with it afterwards. I think he, though, wants us to hand everything in all at once at the end.
Right.
So